Beaver, make manifest. Beaver doesn't just sit around thinking. He plans, then executes carefully, damming up waterways to construct the ponds and swamplands where he builds his island home. And that home? It's a marvel of modern engineering with an underwater entrance, snug dry bedrooms, and plenty of storage for winter foodstuffs. Beaver knows how to fundamentally change landscapes, bringing water to barren areas. Call on Beaver when you are ready for foundational change, whether remaking an inner landscape or creating something new in the world at large. Beaver teaches us not only how to make manifest, moving thought to reality, but how to plan for the future. Whatever you hope to accomplish, call on Beaver's medicine to help you go from idea to done. Ritual. Clear space for an altar. Creating an altar is an act of designating sacred space. It's a place for honoring, meditation, reflection, and for dreaming. Here's how you can build yours. Find a place to build your altar. You can put an altar on top of the fridge or in a box under the bed. Don't get too precious about this. Use the fireplace mantle, a windowsill, a corner of your desk, or an old stump in the yard. You declaring this a sacred space makes it a sacred space. Clean your spot. Maybe it means soap and water, or maybe you want to cleanse it energetically by burning sage, cedar, mugwort, or your favorite incense. The idea is to create a blank canvas to which you can purposefully add things. The clearing off is also part of the consecration, the energetic act of turning something mundane like a tabletop into something sacred. Elemental symbols such as a cradle for fire, a bowl of water for water, a plant for earth, or a feather for air can be placed on your altar to represent the material stuff out of which everything is made. The elements also represent you. Earth is your body, air is your breath, water emotion, and fire is spirit. Representing the elements on your altar brings you to this sacred space. Reflection. What's sacred to you? The next step in creating your altar is to reflect on what's sacred to you right now, knowing this will change over time. Perhaps today you're thinking about your lineage or your ancestors feel near and sacred. Next week you might be working with animal medicine and using your altar as a place to reflect on that energy. Think of your altar as a workspace for your spiritual doings. What you put on your altar will depend on what you are currently working on spiritually. Remember, this space needs to be sacred to no one but you. Add things to your altar beginning on the eastern side and moving westward to honor the movement of the sun. You could also place items in a clockwise pattern to build energy, or a counterclockwise pattern if the altar is meant to unwind an energy or a situation. You might want to include a candle, statue, crystal, or bowl of water as a focal point for quiet reflection. Making an altar is a creative act, so feel into it. Finally, notice how you built your altar. Is it symmetrical or asymmetrical? Is it sparse or full? Simply use this to gather information about yourself and your current energy with no judgment. Barn owl, listen for spirit. On a dark moon night, barn owl swoops low over the fields. Her wing beats are not only nearly silent, but create a wake of quietude, a vortex of otherness. Crossing her path feels like crossing over into elsewhere, and so barn owl has long been a messenger between the worlds, bringing word from the realms of spirits and ghosts. Barn owl hunts even on the darkest nights, her ears picking up the small chattering of mice and the soft sound of grass brushing against a rabbit's skin. Or maybe she simply senses their souls as they go about their nightly business. Close your eyes, barn owl whispers, and open your ears to the sound of spirit. Ritual. Journey to spirit. Barn owl reminds you to connect with and find guidance in the whisperings of spirit that live within your own heart. This simple meditation journey will help you reconnect with your own spirit spark. Begin by getting comfortable, either sitting or lying down. Breathe in and out through your nose, allowing your body to relax. Now imagine your consciousness slipping outside of your body, stepping out of your own skin. Glide around so you are standing beside yourself. Imagine a small door behind your heart. Open that door and step inside. What does it look like on the pathway to your heart? What does it smell and sound like? Walk in further until you come to the chamber where your spirit lives. Notice your surroundings. Notice how your spirit looks. Ask spirit if it has a message for you. Then listen with your whole being. Call on barn owl to help you hear truly. When you are finished, walk out the door, close it, and seal it behind you. Walk back around to your front and step back into your own skin. Journal what you noticed right away before you lose the sense of your journey. Reflection. Learning to listen. Sometimes in order to strengthen one sense, we need to dampen another. We're very used to approaching the world through our eyes. We often need to see it with our own eyes in order to believe. Barn owl reminds us that sight isn't the only way to connect. Intuition and inner knowing can't be seen with your eyes. How do you define what's real for you? Does your intuition have a seat at the decision-making table? How do you work with the information you receive in dreams and meditations? Insight is not a light bulb that goes on and off inside our heads. It is a flickering candle that can easily be snuffed out. By Malcolm Gladwell. Black Bear, sync with the cycles. On a half-moon night, watching Black Bear stretch up on her hind legs to climb your back fence, you might think for a moment that you have a very human burglar about to break in. Like us humans, Black Bear can stand tall, a conduit between earth and sky. Because of this, she is seen as our mirror self, our wild sister tapped into healing wisdom and lush instinct. Black Bear connects deeply with the part of your psyche that longs to burrow under the blankets for the entirety of the winter and emerge blinking into the light with new projects clinging to your skirt like cubs. Don't fight the cycles of the season. Black Bear teaches, call on her to rediscover your rhythm and remember you're wild. Ritual, follow the moon. There is wisdom to be found living in sync with the cycles of nature, even when, especially when, you live in an urban environment. Black Bear reminds you to step into the cycles, letting their gentle flow shape your life. To honor Black Bear, begin to get in sync with the cycles of the moon. Start simply. For one moon cycle, note the phase of the moon. Note where the moon is in the sky, when it rises, and where it sets. During the next moon cycle, expand your practice. Add notes about your emotional and physical health as the moon moves through her phases. Are there certain times of the month when you're more easily joyous or more likely to be moved to tears? As you continue this practice over time, you'll begin to know your own patterns, the cycles you flow through in sync with the moon's movements. This offers a certain predictability, an ability to foretell your own future through knowing the seasons of your psyche. An oracle is one who feels the patterns of time so deeply she can peer into the future. Black Bear can connect you to the earth and sky's patterns, but it's you who connects the practice that allows deepening into wisdom. Reflection. Step into the dreaming. As the nights get longer and the weather turns chill, Black Bear retreats into the dreaming. There's no guilt, no anxiety, no sense that she should be living any other way. Dark nights are for dreams, and Black Bear knows this beyond all doubt. We humans, on the other hand, fight the long night. We turn on lights, throw parties, and deny the time of dreams. What happens if you give into your natural rhythm, allowing longer sleep to punctuate your winter nights? What if this slowing, this deepening, this subtle sorrow is the stuff of winter to be embraced and accepted? What happens if you invite Black Bear to come dream with you, bringing with her the deep healing of natural cycles? I like the night. Without the dark, we'd never see the stars. Stephanie Meyer, Twilight. Black Snake, Grow Your Truth. Many moons ago, in a garden far away, Snake slid up to Eve and said, "You have a choice." While free will isn't evil, it is complex. It requires each of us to define our moral center and know what we stand for. Without this knowledge, it's easy to steer off course or be misled by smooth talkers and slick ideas. We grow when we see through the rhetoric and acknowledge our own truth. Each true choice expands you until, as you outgrow who you used to be, your past begins to bind an itch. Black Snake slides in to remind you that growth requires release. She says, let go of what no longer serves you so you can continue to expand into your truest self. Ritual. Shed your skin. In order for Black Snake to grow, she must shed her skin. Unlike human skin, snake skin isn't stretchy enough to allow her to expand, so a few times a year, Snake will shed. During these times, a film protects her eyes, leaving her temporarily blind and vulnerable. Growth and change often make us feel this way too. Like Snake, you may need to nest when you're shedding. You may feel metaphorically blind and unable to make smart decisions. Allow yourself space to fill into your new skin. We humans initiate change with a mental shift. Ritualizing this shift allows us to move from the realm of pure thought into the realm of the physical. When you begin to feel like you're outgrowing your current skin, bring a few cups of sea salt or a yummy bath scrub with you into the shower. As you scrub your skin, sloughing off old cells, think about what you need to release. Picture it being loosened by the salt so it can slide down the drain. Imagine what no longer serves you being washed away. After Snake slides free of her constricting scales, she continues to expand until her outer casing chafes, and she begins the process again. Black Snake will sometimes den with poisonous snakes like copperheads. Call on her if you need to slide smoothly through a poisonous situation. Reflection, snake medicine. The rod of Asclepius, Greek god of healing, is a snake twining up a staff. In Hindu tradition, Kundalini energy, the raw power of creation. It is symbolized by a snake moving up the spine and through the chakras. In the mountains of the Andes, the anaconda represents the powerful life force of the physical world and the element of earth. Yet Snake is one of our oldest monsters. She can move silently, and her bite can kill. She is thought to be sly and deceitful, slippery and duplicitous, her forked tongue an indication that she may be two-faced. How can snake hold both healing and harm? This rich fullness is snake's special magic. Her medicine is ancient, complex, and in many ways foundational because it represents a vast range of experiences and possibility. What if snake's forked tongue is not a sign of duplicity, but instead indicates an ability to speak and know multiple truths simultaneously? What if snake's secret is that nothing is as cut and dried as we would like it to be, but that multiple realities exist at once until the moment you choose, and your choice creates the reality to come? Can you see many sides of a situation, giving each its due before making a decision? Blue damselfly, commune with nature. Damselfly is a creature of water and sunlight, her rainbow wings moving faster than the human eye can follow. Only partially of this mortal realm, damselfly can lead you to interstitial spaces where magic lives and the earth elements dance, showing you the rich complexity that exists in even the smallest patch of the natural world. Look to these tiny beings to be seduced so you can fall in love again with the wonder of life and being alive. When you release the illusions woven by culture and civilization, you'll find your own effervescence and iridescence. What's real, Blue Damselfly asks, and what do you want to be real? Ritual. Tend the magic. Nature exudes its own magic. When we tend to it, we begin to recognize magic within ourselves. Set the intention to tend to the natural world and feed the forces you cannot see. Put out offerings for the elementals. These ephemeral energies live alongside of us and play in the natural places. Some people call them fairies. In Ireland, traditional offerings were milk, honey, and whiskey. In the Americas, native peoples offered cornmeal and tobacco. Other offerings can include a song, a prayer, or Reiki. Build a cairn in your yard. These stacks of stones are a way to pause and honor the natural world. They're a prayer made physical. Plant a garden. Bring home a potted plant. Hang wind chimes. Keep a bird bath in your garden, yard, or on your deck. Put prisms and mirrors in the garden. Sing to the birds. Build a bee hotel for the carpenter bees. Whatever you choose to do it in the spirit of reverence and intentional connection. Reflection. Recognizing small magics. Are you always looking for big magic and ignoring the small everyday magics that make life beautiful? Life is full of serendipitous and magical moments, like when you get a call from a friend just as you're dialing her number, or when you ask for a sign and find a feather on your morning walk. These moments fade into the background unless you actively acknowledge them. Sometimes, in our desire for big magic, the lightning bolt or fireworks, we forget these small moments that warm our lives like candle glow. Do you recognize and nurture the small magics in your life? Dragonfly may get all the glory, but when it comes to iridescence, it is its cousin, Damselfly, who truly sparkles. These critters are quite similar, but for the set of their wings, and are often thought of interchangeably. Broad-winged Katydid. Discover the pattern. Like his cousin Cricket, Katydid has 5 eyes. He fixes them on life's intricacies, noticing details often missed by those of us with dual vision. From his perch atop the oak tree, he takes in the glow of the moon, the shadow of a tree limb, the stars burning holes in the night sky. These compounded images come together, coalescing into one, showing the slow evolution of the world as it changes. Details create patterns, patterns create rhythm. Katydid knows what's to come because he understands the design of what has been. When Katydid appears, look to the details so you too can begin to feel the rhythm and predict the future through the patterns of the present. Ritual, finding the rhythm. All the members of Katydid's family, from cricket to grasshopper, are said to be able to predict storms. The syncopation of their song reflects changes in temperature, providing a rhythm appropriate for the season. Katydid's song is actually percussive, coming not from his throat, but from rubbing his forewings together. He hears his rhythm with ears located on his front legs. This nocturnal bard teaches us to find and celebrate the rhythms of the world around us. The next time you hear the crickets and katydids playing their nightly tune, join them. Grab anything percussive, a drum, rattle, or tambourine, 2 sticks or wooden spoons, beans in a mason jar. It doesn't matter what you use. Listen for the rhythm and then join in. Match the beat. If you do this through the shifting seasons, you'll begin to notice changes in the nightly rhythm. Do these changes correlate with weather changes? With shifts in the moon's phase? Notice if you feel any differently or if you notice things in a new way. Now you've joined the cosmic course. Reflection. Seen through many eyes. Having compound eyes is like sitting in a control room watching video feeds that show the same situation from many angles. Each micro eye records an image, and then Katydid's brain combines the images into a cohesive story. Added to this are impressions of light and dark, which are the specialty of 3 additional eyes called ocelli. We miss so much with our one set of eyes, actually, and metaphorically. We put a lot of faith in what we can see, but can you think of times when your eyes have not showed you the entirety of a situation, or when you missed an important detail? What would happen if you shifted the way you looked at the world, looking for long-term patterns instead of short-term moments? Can you put your personal beliefs and prejudices aside and see the world through another's eyes? While there is perhaps a province in which the photograph can tell us nothing more than what we see with our own eyes, there is another in which it proves to us how little our eyes permit us to see. Dorothea Lange. Burdock, tap your resources. You know the burrs that get matted into your dog's coat in autumn? The ones that prick your fingers and refuse to come untangled? That's Burdock. She's a tireless companion, and yes, she sticks with you, cheering you on when you're running low on steam or self-esteem, or recovering from a lingering ailment. Burdock's a nurturer, building you up with gentle sweetness and asking nothing in return. Her taproot runs deep. Once she sets her sights on breaking up crusty soil or shifting old habits, she's persistently relentless. She's the friend of your childhood and the one you could always count on to have your back. Trust me, she says. All will be well. Ritual. Reconnect with your inner flame. Burdock helps you find strength when you think you have none, warming you from the inside and nourishing deeply. In this way, she's a hearth fire. She offers gentle heat, warm light, and the promise of a home-cooked meal. To reconnect with your inner flame, your own sustenance, start by lighting a candle. Stare into the flame and imagine a small spark lighting deep in your core. See the candle's flame mirrored within as a glowing ember. Breathe gently, letting your inner flame grow with each inhalation and shrink to an ember with each exhalation. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. After you have this visualization down, add a sense of warmth. Feel your innards warming on the inhalation and cooling on the exhalation. Practice for 1 minute at the start and work up to 10 minutes of practice. Know that, like Burdock, each breath is nourishing you deep within. Reflection. Find your hearth fire. We're not always kind to those who love us best and nurture us deeply. It's easy to neglect, accidentally or cruelly, the friend or loved one who's always present and never demanding. Who do you count on when you're feeling burned out and your soul is malnourished? This person is your hearth fire. Once a year, the ancient Celts would extinguish their individual hearth fires and relight them from a communal flame. Does your hearth fire need to be tended or relit? One of the most beautiful gifts in the world is the gift of encouragement. When someone encourages you, that person helps you over a threshold you might otherwise never have crossed on your own. John O'Donohue, Eternal Echoes.